What's up guys, Tim from Everyday Tactical Vids, and today I'm doing a review of a set that I got. This is a 3-piece multi-tool and knife gift set. As you can see, it's from Winchester, and as I mentioned when I was talking about the tiny little Cabela's multi-tool, got a little bit of skepticism that just comes out for me when I see, this is made by a big company like Winchester, but I thought I'd give it a shot, and I did need a multi-tool for a kind of a mini survival pack that I was making, and I didn't want to spend a ton of money on it. So basically I got this guy, and those two were thrown in for free. So we'll take it out of the box in a second and talk about it, but as you can see, 3-piece multi-tool knife gift set. First, the 13-function multi-tool with sheath, 13-function multi-tool, and on the back you can see the sheath. The sheath is just for the large multi-tool. It doesn't fit the other two items. Then you've got this 12-function multi-tool, this tiny little guy, and then you have what they're calling their 3-inch clip folding knife. So let's take this guy out of the package and talk about these guys a little bit more in depth and see what $14.99 gets us when we invest in something from Winchester in this family of tools. First up here, we'll talk about the large multi-tool, just to give you a sense of the size from top to bottom. Talking about 6.5 inches total, and then width when it's closed up like this guy, like it is now. You're talking about looks about 3.5, totally closed up. So, couple features here. If you saw the review I did on the Cabela multi-tool, the tiny little one, it did have a spring built in here, and I actually like this without the spring. I'm just afraid that spring and the other guy is going to break. So, you got your pliers here. Looks like they're lined up properly. Every once in a while you get a multi-tool that even when you close it, the two sides of the pliers aren't lined up. So that's nice. It is metal, and then you've got a little plastic here on the side, and then they've got these little rubberized texture points. We'll see how they wear over time, but right now they look pretty good. And what I'll do is I'll open up all the tools and then look at those guys, and then we'll put them away one by one. First off, on one side here we have a file, and on the other side of the file, a little bit interesting here, you do have a tiny little ruler, so just a tiny bit over 2 inches. But if you did have to measure something, say you were tracking and trying to figure out something going on with an animal footprint, you could probably use that guy. So that's the first item there. Second one here is, there's, again, even within these, multiple uses. So tiny little kind of a flathead screwdriver. Some people would use this as an awl as well, if you had to punch through leather or something like that. So, and then obviously you can see it's got a little drop there, so you might be able to use that even as a some sort of prying option if you had to do that. Phillips head screwdriver, and if you remember me talking about the one that was on the tiny little Cabela's multi-tool, that was really flat. This one's much more like a normal screwdriver head, so that's good. And it's a little bit generous to call this guy a saw. It's more like a serrated knife. So I definitely wouldn't be trying to hack through trees with that too much. But yeah, it's decently sharp, and it's serrated. Looks kind of like a pointed, significantly pointed butter knife, if you will. So I'd rather have a saw than this guy, but that's what comes with it. So moving over to this side, let's see here. First up, get this here. You see you got your can opener and multiple sizes there as well, and be careful because that is sharp. And you got another flathead screwdriver, something you could pry with if you needed to. This third guy, if you look on this side, you can tell it's kind of got a little drop here, so it's supposed to look like a blade. That's not really sharp at all, but again, possibly an awl to poke through something, and I guess if you sharpen it up, you'd have a blade there as well. And then lastly here, you got your main blade. Not super sharp as it comes, but you could definitely sharpen it up pretty quickly. So close that guy up. There you go. When it comes to the large multi-tool here, I think I'm relatively happy. Again, $14.99. So this and then 2 other items for 15 bucks. Pretty decent deal. If I got this for 15 bucks, I think I'd still be content with it. I'm not spending 50 bucks, 70 bucks, 100 bucks on something super high end. So if this guy holds up for a while and is useful, then I'll be pretty happy. As I mentioned, I'd like maybe some different items in here as far as the tools, but so be it. And the main thing I would have this for in a survival situation is, the pliers, maybe the file, one of the awls, that type of stuff. So I think it'll serve its function in one of my survival bags. And now we'll take a moment and move on to talking about the smaller multi-tool. Here's what the smaller multi-tool looks like, opened up, and just to give you a size again there, about 4, and then maybe top to bottom about 4 as well, or if you do it this way, a little bit less than 4. So, as I mentioned on the first larger multi-tool, that one didn't have a spring. This one does have a spring in there. We'll see how that guy holds up. I'm always skeptical just because they don't look super sturdy to me, but we'll see how that guy holds up. And let me open up these tools, and then we'll see what this guy has built into it. Working through the tools on this guy. Again, a serrated, I wouldn't call it a saw, it's more like a serrated knife. So you got that comes with this. Close that guy up. You do have a can opener, and it's got a very small head there, like for a flathead screwdriver. So that's cool to have a couple different options when it comes to screwdriver sizes. I'll show you the other side in a second. Then you have a Phillips head screwdriver there, and this guy is pretty small, but it is rounded. It's not flat. And then you also have this really small blade there. Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be super helpful for a ton, but it is a small blade. So if you had this, thrown into your pocket, just carrying it around, you might be able to use that like a small pocket knife. Close that up. On this side, we've got a nail file, and it's got kind of a little hook there. So if you had to dig something out, like if you're ever in the woods and you get something behind your nail, you can dig that out maybe with the nail file. I'm assuming this is a, like a small flathead. You could also use it if you had to punch through, like I said, like an awl. And you've got your can opener here. This one's, the can opener is quite small actually, but that certainly could work if you needed to. And then a larger flathead screwdriver. One thing I will note is getting all the tools out of these guys. Some of them were easy, but I would say the majority were pretty hard to pry out. So be careful because you got that blade. You yank it out and, nick your finger or cut your hand up, so be careful with that. So close these guys up real quick. And similar to the other guy, I probably won't use this guy nearly as much. I'll figure out a place to throw this just to have it around to use a little bit and test it out. But the larger one is the one I'll have in my small survival bag. But this guy seems like it's decent. And again, price point, yeah, it's probably not going to last forever, but decent little item. So now we'll take a look at the pocket knife real quick. Here's the third item that comes in the set, this little folding pocket knife. As you can see, some of the basic features. You got your straight edge, your serrations, you got your thumb stud here to open it. Drop point, it's decently sharp when you actually get it, which is nice. This is your pocket clip. One thing that was interesting, and I'll talk about this in a second, was actually putting it in the pocket. It takes a little bit of thought, actually, believe it or not. So metal, and then you've got this kind of textured, feels like a hard plastic there. Now, when you close it, this is a frame lock. Push this to the side, close it up. Now, because of where the thumb stud is, when I slid it into my pocket went up to about here, and I had to actually kind of maneuver around to get it to rest all the way up here. So just be careful if you do get this set and you do put it in your pocket, make sure that your pocket rides all the way up to the top and doesn't get stuck here, because it's more likely to fall out. As far as size, you can see where my hand fits. Again, I'm about 6'2", so I may have slightly larger hands than the average person out there, but that's how it rides. And just to compare it to, this is my EDC knife, my Benchmade Griptilian. That's what it looks like in size. And if you line them up right next to one another, it's interesting because the Griptilian is notably larger, but it's also notably lighter. And obviously that's because you have a G10 handle as opposed to this this full metal handle. So that's the third item in the set from this Winchester multi-tool and knife set. So I guess overall for the set, I would say for 15 bucks, I'm pretty impressed with what you get. To get the multi-tool, looks like it's going to hold up, and the pouch is nice, tiny little multi-tool, and then the pocket knife as well. So pretty decent deal for 15 bucks. I'm pretty happy with it. Not always is it the case that the more money you invest, the better products you get. Sometimes you invest a lot of money and you get junk. Also, you have to kind of figure out this, okay, if I spent 15 bucks on this and I use these guys for, say, 2 years and then they all broke, okay, so, $7.50 a year, basically, $7.50 a year, is that worthwhile versus spending a ton of money and getting something that's going to last you 10 years straight? You got to kind of think through those things. I've heard people swear by Leatherman. They just say that they hold up compared to any other multi-tool out there. So, you got to do your homework, check it out. But I'll use these guys and test them out. And then once it's worth talking about and giving you an update, I'll I'll share on it. But right now, I'd give this a thumbs up as far as 15 bucks getting this set and what you get for it. So again, you always got to think about that price point thing. What can you afford, and what's the use you're going to have for it day to day. If you're going to be really beating up on something, you know, really using a multi-tool every single day a ton, probably want to invest a ton of money. If you just need one, say in your car in a bug out bag for, you know, general use every once in a while, then maybe you can invest in something a little bit less expensive like this. All right, guys, thanks as always for watching the video, and we'll talk to you soon. Later.